be joining everyone this afternoon for the February 2021 edition of the Atlanta Tableau User Group. As always, it's good to be joined by Anna and Kieran. We've got a great lineup for everyone today. And as we're coming on, Anna, you were telling us that you're about to go run a big race. Tell us about that. What's going on?
Yeah, so I used to run, I was actually ran cross country and I coached cross country for high school and, short distances. During COVID, I decided to start going longer distances on the trails. And then, so in a week from Saturday, I decided I'm skipping marathon and I'm going for an ultra marathon, my first ultra marathon on the 27th. It's a 50K. And I'm sure there's people here who have done races or something, to expand their their horizons on something that they've never done before. And so I'm curious what everyone thinks. You can put in the chat, like, what have you done? Or what are you planning to do? That's something you've never done before. You're like, why not? You can chat away.
I am super impressed. I will also tell you that I'm never going to follow in your footsteps. But I love it.
Wait,
never
now
say
are,
never.
Oh, I'm
Anna,
saying never.
Are you when you said you skipped the marathon and went straight to ultra marathon, do you mean that you've never done a marathon? You've gone from like 5K all the way to ultra?
Well, in my training, I ran 24 miles and I could have done a couple extra miles that week. But again, I'm training for the ultra and I felt really good. It's all trails. So there's so much that's involved in this, and part of it's not getting hurt. And so, and some of that's luck because you can trip over rocks and whatnot. So really it's a mind game after 3 hours. So I've run 3 or more hours. I do it on Saturdays. So for the past several weeks, I've been running 3 or more hours. And so that's from 13 miles up. And after, this sounds crazy, but that runner's high is a real thing. Because when you hit, you're constantly fueling. So when you hit a certain place, and for me, it's about 9 miles, I'm good to go. And I didn't think I would ever say that. But think of ultra running as, especially in the trails, as you're in the woods and you're enjoying nature. I don't listen to music or anything, and quiet. And eating candy the whole time. You're just constantly fueling. And it's like, hey, I have a gummy bear. So there's that.
That's awesome. Well, good luck to you. That's great.
I'm excited. Now this one's in Alabama. It's the Mount Cheaha 50K and it's straight up a mountain. And it's really a lot of hiking. So I know it sounds like I'm running that far, but it really is a lot of, it's a lot of hiking. It's really what it is. And it's mental. We got a lot of folks.
It looks like, a lot of folks in the chat talking about running.
Yeah. Oh, somebody's going to be the oldest person to hike the AT. Oh my gosh. That's awesome. In 2043. Hey, maybe I'll do it too. That sounds like fun.
That's Dan.
Oh, it is it. That sounds awesome. I didn't know. That's awesome. That sounds like fun. I haven't done much of the Appalachian Trail, mostly because I don't want to do it by myself. So I'll do it with other people for sure.
My dad was trying to piecemeal his way up to Maine. He's been kind of doing it throughout the course of his life. He's somewhere in Virginia at this point, like not right now, but like that's kind of where his last hiked miles are. I'm not positive he's going to make it. We'll see how it all goes, but
that's so impressive.
It is. My cousin did the whole thing as a through hike. It was interesting too, because I saw him when he left and then he came back and he was probably about 70 pounds lighter. And just,
wow.
He wasn't eating enough candy.
That was the thing at the end. He's like, all I do is eat candy. I just eat Sour Patch Kids all day because all I need is calories.
You have to eat. I have a time between every 20 and 30 minutes to eat one of those little blocks thing. And then every 8 miles, I have about a half a banana. You can also have that baby food, the squeezed baby food. That's a good one. It's very much strategy. So the uphills and the downhills, you just have to strategize how you're going to take it so you can manage the long run. Let's hit today's agenda.
Strategy, let us commence upon our Tableau journey for the day. So excited to dig in with everybody. First thing we want to do is just give everybody a quick update and also an invitation. So as we talked about last time we got together in January, we shared that we are doing something called ATUG Cares for the Hungry. So this has been a focus for us since our last meeting. To this point, we have raised $9,475, but we are still looking for some additional contributions. We'd love to get over that $10,000 mark. And then, we're excited to certainly have all of the matching sponsors that we've got. So I'm here to represent the analytic vision side of things. Also have Dan Murray here, who represents Interworks and their contributions. So super grateful to Interworks. Dan and Bayfar over there do a great job being involved in the community. And then also Jim Colquitt and Armor Index, which is a ETF that focuses on making sure that you've got some automated allocation and some good downside risk assessment. So really grateful to all of our matching sponsors. And like we said, if you would like to continue to support the Atlanta community here, we would love to have you make an additional donation. The link is either right there with the QR code, so just snap that with your mobile device, or you can just type that URL that you got down there at the bottom, engage.acfb.org, go to ATUG Cares. I think you need to capitalize properly, but we'll let you guys tell us otherwise. So we'd love to continue to see that happen. Karen, talk to us about what's coming up, if you would please.
Sure. Okay. You're looking at our ATUG dashboard. For those of you who maybe don't know, we actually have a calendar. It's out on Tableau Public. If you if you go to Tableau Public and search ATUG calendar, you can find this. It will come right up. But here you can see in yellow all of our meetings scheduled for 2021. And let me just touch on this slide on two of them. We have one coming up in March, and we'll get a little more into it. We have one more slide with a little more details on March, but April is kind of a big meeting. We announced a few months back the Iron Viz Atlanta competition. So we're really excited about it. We'll remind you guys at the end of the meeting to enter. We really hope that folks are interested and have been thinking of a Viz or maybe working on one. The deadline to submit your entry is March 1st. So the goal is to have presenters in April and to announce the winners of the competition in April. We would love to hear from you during today's meeting. If you have any suggestions, concerns, if you're stuck, if you just have any thoughts around the competition, feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll be sure to check them. And if you guys can move to the next slide, this is a little bit of details. Our March meeting will be a panel discussion, Women in Data. So you can see we've got a lot of awesome speakers. We have a really good panel discussion Anna will be hosting. So please join us next month for a Women in Data panel discussion.
Awesome. That's super exciting. And then I think we're going to introduce David.
Yes. Okay. So today's meeting, you guys saw on the agenda earlier, this meeting is all about like data for good, using data for good. And we have a special guest with us today. David Pires is here from London. And David is a Tableau ambassador and a co-leader of the London Tableau user group. And he's also a board member for the Tableau initiative, Viz for Social Good. Many of you have probably already heard about it. It's all about helping mission-driven organizations promote social good and understand their own data through beautiful, informative data visualization. So cannot wait to hear from him. He did share with us earlier when we were all about to start the call that personally he loves to travel, and in particular like learn about other cultures and Japan. He likes to travel to Japan. So thank you so much for speaking today, David.
Thank you. And while I get kind of sharing, making sure that all the tech is working, I want to say thank you for inviting me. It's a privilege to be at the legendary Atlanta user group. If not the first one, is certainly one of the first I remember starting up. And I love seeing what you do, and just having the opportunity to be here is it's really great. So with that, I just wanted to kind of touch a little bit today, spend the next 20, 30 minutes talking a little bit about Vis for Social Good, what it is, or what are we trying to do. And I'll also give you a kind of sneak peek in terms of what myself and the rest of the team around Vis for Social Good are looking into 2021 and beyond, and kind of where do we see the initiative going. So as I've mentioned, we'll talk through some of the things that we've done. I want to kind of share some highlights of visualizations that were also interesting for me as I saw the progress of Visual Social Good. And as I've mentioned, we'll talk about the future in a second too. So where does this start? For those that are within the Tableau community for a long time, they will probably remember Chloe Tseng. She was at Twitter at the time, and she presented at Fanalytics at the conference. Remember those? So Fanalytics was this opportunity for people to share ideas that maybe just didn't fit with most of the other things that would be done within the community. So she presented in 2016, and the idea was really simple. We have a lot of people creating visualizations. Of course, we have Iron Viz, and we have other initiatives, but there is a lack for harnessing some of those skills to support organizations that are for impact or NGOs and charities. Of course, Data for Good in 2020, 2021 is a lot more widely known. 5 years ago, that wasn't the case. So that was kind of the original idea. And in 2017, what was set up is very simple, was one first community project focusing on women in data with Stanford University around January, and then a small website and a URL. And throughout that year, Chloe was able on her own to create a number of projects that touch in various areas, from working with Unicef in terms of childcare and making sure that children get access to clean water and things like that in some countries in Africa, as well as I've mentioned Data for Good around women in data with Stanford University. So as she launched those 10 projects throughout that kind of first year, she felt like there was momentum behind the initiative, and specifically a linked Tableau community that we all kind of cherish across the user groups and all the things that we do. So the website it's kind of simple, and one thing that I can tell you is that we're currently redesigning some of this. And there are, if you're unfamiliar with that, I'll talk you through the whole process, both for if you want to become a volunteer, which I hope you do by the time that we finish today, but also if you know of a NGO or a charity that could use some support from us, I'll also love to hear from you. So how does it work? Usually a nonprofit launches a data visualization project. What does that actually mean? So there's usually a few weeks or months that go into this, where we work with them to try to understand the gaps that they may need, or that they have, or maybe they are trying to show a little bit better the type of impact that they are having in the area that they're working on. I'll give you a couple of examples. So we worked recently with an NGO which is called Bridges for Prosperity. And what they are really focused is creating connections within communities where bridges are lacking. And that could be either just normal walking bridges, or it could be that trying to link across a river for traffic for farmers and things like that. And we know that sometimes when a road gets cut, it's difficult for us to then get access to a different community, and maybe we have to go around a large area. It's much easier if there was a bridge. So that's kind of some of the projects that they're working on. And as we know, NGOs and charities, or for-profit or not-for-profit organizations, one of the things that always happens is that they are typically underfunded and also under-resourced. So having volunteers within the community that are willing to grab that data, visualize and create something that can help them, it really helps them furthering their mission. And then the way that we do that in terms of volunteers, of course, 2020, 2021, has really been about the virtual events, which of course gives us the opportunity to share more of the work that we're doing with people like you, or just running hackathons virtually. But we also have been working with a number of local chapters, which I'll touch about in a second. The image that you have here is from a hackathon that we run in London, I think in 2019. And then the impact that it has, as I mentioned, there are different ways that an NGO might look at getting some of that support. It could be, for instance, creating a poster, an infographic that goes onto the website or gets printed out and distributed throughout schools. Could also be, for instance, for an organization here in London, they actually didn't need a specific visualization. What they needed was the data was so vast around childhood obesity that they just wanted a lot of analysts and a lot of hands trying to see if they could see some correlation between the different causes. For instance, if there were specific types of shops near a school, if the family had certain means, and how does some of that kind of social strata impacts childhood obesity. So those are kind of some of the things that we've been working with and some of the ways that organizations can get involved. So in the last 4 years, we've had over 30 projects, and we have around 4,500 volunteers. What I mean by that is that we don't get 4,500 visualizations every time that we launch a project, but these are the volunteers that sign up with us, and we usually get in the region of 50 to 80 visualizations created, depending on the topic of the NGO that gets launched. And then we have project locations. So we are missing LATAM, but for the most part, we have worked with organizations that are global, and I'll show you that in the next slide. But also we're focusing really small charities, organizations that don't have the reach of a Unicef or WHO, for instance. And then our local chapters, they are without a doubt one of the biggest part of our success. What they do for us is that they are able to identify causes in some local communities. They are also the ones organizing local events. And I can give you some of the chapters that we feel that are really active. For instance, Tokyo, Osaka, Amsterdam, London, Boston, and San Diego. There are a number of those chapters that are run by volunteers, again, to help us further the mission of Viz for Social Good. And then, as I was mentioning, we have worked with a number of organizations. Of course, Unicef stands out, but I also want to kind of call out a few others that for me are important. A really small one on the right-hand side, Kevin Richardson Foundation. That foundation is all about creating the habitat for wild lions in South Africa. As you know, that has been reduced a lot in the last 4 decades. So the foundation is now purchasing land to make sure that there is habitat for lions. And then Sunny Street looks at supporting people that don't have a home or homeless, that they need support, medical support specifically. And it's run by 2 nurses out in Brisbane, Australia. So as you can see, it's not only about these kind of global projects, but also focusing on sometimes really key causes that are local to specific organization. And as I've mentioned, we couldn't do this without our local chapters. This is just a quick compilation of all the meetings that they have been running in hackathons. Can see a few from London and again, in India or in the United States as well. And it's been really fantastic to kind of have them continue to supporting the events. Even as we all went virtual, they continue to run these events locally, and it's fantastic to see. So a big thank you to them. And then a couple of, maybe a little bit kind of the way that we've been promoting visual social good. So Tableau has been really kind to us in that we've been having a presence at the Tableau conference since 2017, both in Europe and in the US. Of course, we don't take up the big stage, but you can always find us talking about visual social good every time there is a Tableau conference. We've also taken part in the data XNI conference, and this was 2019. We had Vanita from our side being able to kind of speak there and share a little bit about the work that we've been doing. And this is kind of the bragging slide. We are incredibly proud of having been awarded the Community Silver Prize for the Information is Beautiful Awards back in 2017. And also being one of the finalists for the Fast Company's World Changing Ideas in 2018. And we have been invited to speak at the United Nations General Assembly. The important thing on this last one was that while it was great that we got invited, we got a chance to bring our volunteers that had submitted their visualizations, and they were the ones presenting their work to the United Nations General Assembly. So that was fantastic, and I thought it was really, really cool to be able to provide that for them. So as you can imagine, as we grow and there's a number of initiatives running, and we're trying to kind of support not only the global initiatives, but as well the local ones, and connect with all those local chapters, we had to put some structure because of course Chloe couldn't run everything on her own. And what we've been doing is kind of focusing a little bit in terms of creating some more divided areas so that we can all kind of contribute to it. And this is what our group looks like at the moment. So as you can see from the top left-hand corner, you have Chloe, Neil Richards. I'm sure most of you on the Tableau community will recognize him. He's been supporting Visual Social Good for many, many years in terms of being not only an advocate and an evangelist for us, but also recently as our community lead. My role as a partnership lead is really to focus on connecting with organizations that are either running hackathons internally in their companies, and we have a few of those that we're starting, or creating partnerships that allow us to further the mission that we're doing within Visual Social Good. And then of course we have Amanda and Nisa that have been supporting us as well, and Vanita also focus on the operational side of the work that we do. I won't mention everyone, but they have been key to our success, and they continue to be key to our success in terms of helping us work through the marketing side of things. We also, I think I'm missing here, we have Mindy, our lawyer. She's supporting us a lot in our next initiative for 2021, which I'll mention in a second. So before we go into that, I just wanted to share with you some of the highlights of work that our volunteers have submitted. So here's an example, and this was for African Youth, the Mentorship Network, and essentially focuses on the impact that it may have in a child, the fact that they don't have a father, and what does that look like for those children in an African country. And then this one is also focused in Africa, but it was looking at the impact or the disparity that happens in terms of Uganda's women's population and their representation or lack thereof in the parliamentary. So you can see here on the left-hand side, they make up just about 50%, and they only 1 in 4 members of the parliament is a woman, which is something that definitely has to change, not only Uganda, but I think across many governments. This one was to do with Unicef and kind of focusing on childhood and immigration, and kind of the impact that immigration has for people that have to run away from conflict. This is focused on charity that is helping homeless people in the UK. And what it's looking at is the areas that most people are homeless. So London, of course, with a bigger population, has a lot of rough sleepers, and there's a number of initiatives about trying to support there. This one from Jess Walker, again, focuses on gender inequality. And if you have seen some of the conference that happened for Tableau early this year, this was one of the visualizations that was picked. It was also a Viz of the Day, and it was also one of those that were in the Tableau public gallery that you could kind of navigate through, even though we were all sitting at home. Moving towards a few other ideas that was submitted by our volunteers. This one is, I mentioned earlier, project that we did with obesity in UK. This one had a lot of data to work through, but Liliana did a really great job on kind of communicating some of the causes and effects. And it's one that if you get a chance, go into Tableau Public and interact with that. This one focused on that foundation that I've mentioned in terms of purchasing habitat for lions out in South Africa, the Gavin Richardson Foundation. And this one again is from that same UK homelessness. That is one of the charities, I believe, Papa Biden, that we've worked well in the past. Again, one from Obesity England. This one is from Neil Richards. So if you know Neil, you know that he often creates visualizations that are very artistic. His latest one around flowers and the Premier League in UK. And this was his take on looking at the obesity kind of shape in different kind of counties within London, which was the area that was focused for this charity. This was from Sam Parsons, again, a really great visualization, one of his first visualizations that I think for Visual Social Good when he was just starting out, and it was fantastic to see what he was able to come up with. I was just going to move through, I think I have a couple more to show you. This one was one of the first visualizations that I saw for Visual Social Good, and it was created for a Hidden Genius project. And what it focused on was to try and create the opportunity for people from backgrounds that are or people of color, or that they don't have the right support in terms of household incomes and things like that, but they be able to get into a university and take a STEM subject, because of course that impacts their career and their ability in terms of social mobility and things like that. So it was really, Michael Mixon was the creator of this one, and I think it was one of the best visualizations that I saw at the time. And then finally, talking a little bit about tech, this focuses again on gender and ethnic disparities across tech companies, and is really interesting take on that data and seeing how you can see the how to read on the left-hand side there. You can see that pretty much, even just kind of a glance, you can tell that even though some companies are moving in the right direction, I don't think any company has a good distribution across genders and specifically race. So I think that's something that we can all kind of agree in terms of improving. So what does that look like? We've done all of these things up until now, and we have a really great team working with us. We love working with our chapter leads as well. But the future is bright for us. We believe that we can continue to grow Visual Social Good. We are passionate to make this not only a community initiative, but we want to make sure that we can continue to partner with others and create an opportunity for other NGOs to collaborate with us. That's why we are currently in the process of working through an application for a non-profit status, which will allow us to, as I said, probably look at things like connecting with other companies, be able to engage with NGOs that potentially it's a little bit more difficult to do today, and create those partnerships that allow us to support them. So that's some of the things that we're working on. What does that actually mean for you? So we are always looking for volunteers. So you can go into visualsocialgood.com, sign up as a volunteer. We'll promise we won't send you 1,000 of emails. What we'll do is once a month, we'll send you an email to tell you when one project has been launched, and you can choose to engage because it may mean something to you, or you feel passionate about it, or you can just skip that month and don't join and don't visualize anything there. We also, of course, have our Twitter presence. I would love to see when you share those visualizations. And then what we would love to do is to, every time that there's, particularly now that we're all virtual, is every time that we close a project, we do kind of recap on a Zoom call. And usually the charity gets to pick the maybe 2 to 3 favorite visualizations, and would love to be able to showcase those as well. So that's it. It's really simple. If you want to sign up, we're always looking forward to more volunteers. If you want to follow Visual Social Good, we are on Twitter. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Thank you so much, David. That was awesome.
Thank you.
There were a lot of comments and there were a few questions in the chat, but I think Doc helped answer one about starting up local chapters. If anyone were to be interested to like start up a chapter from scratch, it looks like you can go to the website and there's some instructions out there.
Yeah, and you can always reach out to us directly. So if you want to just post on Twitter and just tag us, we'll be able to get into contact with you, and would love to set up that.
Excellent. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, David, that was awesome, as Karen already said. And I'll share this. I don't know, this happened a little while ago, but I've gotten involved with the Tableau Foundation in the past, and I still point back to the fact that it was some of the most rewarding work I've ever done in my career. And the first project I ever did was, I think, one of the very first Tableau Foundation projects ever, which was during the Ebola outbreak back in late 2014, early 2015. Tableau Foundation partnered with the government in Guinea, and we were building out the crisis management dashboard that did all the contact tracing work around the spread of Ebola in that country. And you had, the president of Guinea and the World Health Organization looking at it. And oddly, I never thought that I would do anything or hear the word contact tracing in this country. But as this whole thing started, I was like, well, I know what that is. So that was really, really interesting. And then the other project I got to be involved with was in 2015 and 16, the beginning of the Visualize No Malaria project, as it was getting started with the PATH organization, Bill and Melinda Gates, and I actually got to go to Zambia and meet the people and do the whole thing. And it was just absolutely fascinating. And I still look at both those projects as incredible gifts. I learned a ton, learned so much about NGOs, and learned about just that whole process and being there on the ground. I just can't tell you how rewarding it is, because especially with these projects, those two reference, and David, the stuff you talked about, the benefit is human beings. And I think that's one of the things, if we're here to do, financial analysis or supply chain or something like that, it's like, that's great. And those are worthwhile things. And the economy's got to move forward and all those things, but to use your gifts and talents to potentially help other human beings is such an incredible opportunity. And I thought, I was blown away as I was thinking about it when I was doing the projects, just that we have a toolbox that is a gift that can literally save lives when used in the right way. And so just grateful for you and the team and everything that you guys are doing, and the great stories you're sharing and so forth. And to everyone who is on the fence, thinking about, hey, maybe this is something I could do to help, just would encourage it. You don't have the time, but you can always make the time and do something in the future. So absolutely great stuff.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Just knowing that you played a small part, and I think I remember the Visualize No Malaria, which was a very simple task, which was just to draw out buildings and structures in Uganda and Rwanda, and it's the impact that it has, knowing that you've played, even if it's just a small part, to help someone's life. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, it was amazing to watch the community rally around some of those initiatives. And to your point, basically getting on OpenStreetMap and creating an account and kind of drawing buildings using kind of the satellite images where, hey, just draw these corners, right? And to your point, like, that's helping just because we need that data in order to understand where the people are so that we can better equip them, right? And so absolutely, just again, super grateful to you and for all of these initiatives. Awesome. All right, we're gonna jump. Michael Lane's got some good questions. We'll get to those here in a little bit, but we're gonna jump back. I'm gonna steal the screen one more time. Here we go. Share. Boom. All right. So the time has come. I am again super excited to share this. I'm gonna click this link. And Cameron, are you with us?
I am.
Awesome.
Good to be back this month.
Yes. Okay. So I would love to, we've got Dan Murray on the line. We've got Cameron here. Cameron, do you want to talk and then we'll kind of do a big reveal at the end of the discussion here? Do you want to do the reveal now?
Whatever is best for you.
Let's have you talk, and if anybody wants to make one more donation while you share, then that would be awesome.
Great. Well, hey, everybody. Great to see you again. I saw many of you guys last month when we kicked off the ATUG Cares for Hungry promotion, and we are just so proud to partner with all of you guys. And there's been incredible support over the last 4 weeks in getting people fed in our community. And so thank you for participating. When the food bank opens back up, hopefully later this year, we hope to have you guys out to volunteer. What you guys are helping us do is tangibly feeding people tomorrow. So we are consistently putting out millions upon millions of pounds of food every month. And so we continue to see a huge need in the community. And I want you to know that for every dollar that you gave in this promotion, we're going to be able to provide around 4 meals. So thank you for your help. We look forward to seeing you at the food bank soon. And you guys are incredible partners.
Cameron, that's awesome. And you know, one of the things that I think is important for this group to hear and to understand is we didn't just randomly select the Atlanta Community Food Bank. Right. This is an organization that has an absolute history of being phenomenal stewards of the dollars that they've been given. They're also fantastic at creating partnerships and working with, you know, hundreds of organizations throughout this city. And time again, you know, they continue to be able to take the resource, you know, the resources that we have and then multiply them. And I think that's one of the greatest pieces of this is that, as Cameron just said, for every single dollar that is given, you know, you're going to get 4 meals out of that. And you know, that is amazing that you all can consistently do that, Cameron. And just, you know, our gratitude for the organization that you all run, and the excellence that you guys do it with. And with that in mind, let me do this. All right. Hopefully everybody's in. We will bring this one over one more time. So drum roll. With that, we've got a total achieved of $9,575. Congratulations. If you like Community Food Bank, big thanks to Dan Murray, Bayfar at Interworks. Again, Jim Colquitt over with Armor Index ETFs and the good folks over at Analytic Vision. And just, again, grateful to everyone who made a donation. And as we have talked about, Cameron, we'd love to one day be back down there when we all get back together. We'd love to do some service with you guys, put our hands to some good work and really help the community in more and more ways. And so really grateful for all of that.
Well, just so you guys know, this is an amazing amount of money that was raised. So this will provide over 38,000 meals in the next few weeks. So that's huge. It's huge. So I just really want you guys to know how important that each one of your donations was. And thank you guys so much for participating. I see that our longtime board member and friend at the food bank, Ricky Steele, is also on the line. He is super engaged in our work at the food bank. He's been a board member with us for over 30 years, and he is integral in helping the tech community connect to our work. So thanks, Ricky, for all your support.
Awesome. All right. Well, great stuff. Thanks to everyone. Once again, Cameron, thank you so much for your time and all your support as we've gone through this. Look forward to seeing you again soon. All right. With that, Anna, I do believe it's time. It's everybody's favorite time.
I hope so, because I have some fun for you guys. I'm going to share my screen here.
I'm going to stop. There we go.
Hopefully share the correct screen. How are we?
We're
Can
good.
you see it? All right, so if you haven't played before, this is Kahoot. And how do you play Kahoot? Well, just in your browser or on your phone, you can go to www.kahoot.it. You can also, if you're a real big Kahoot addict, you already have the app on your phone, you can download that. This is the game pin. So 3243479. I'm sharing it right now on my screen. You should, I don't want this thing to go away. Can't get this thing to stop moving here. There we go. Nope, still in the way. Why does the Zoom like not want to play anymore? They did a Zoom update in the last couple of weeks. I'm gonna say I'm not happy with the update. I'm like, go back to what you did, but we'll talk about that later. So, all right, we're gonna give you a little time to get your game pin in here, but the winner is, I believe it's a gift card to the Tableau store. Karen, is it $25?
25.
Yes, to the Tableau store. So there's some pretty cool stuff there in the Tableau store. And well, I really like their water bottles. I think that's what I would be getting if I could win this game, but I am not allowed to win the game. Because I wrote the question.
Just like writing the questions and winning the game.
I wrote the question.
What's wrong with that though, right?
It's totally fair.
I'll give you about 2 more minutes at most, just to quickly log in there. And just all you have to do. And even if you don't get,
the game pin still shows up, doesn't it, Anna?
Yes, that's a good point.
Like even
so you
once
could start the game late, and you could still potentially win.
Yes, yes. You still have time, even if it gets going. Just keep trying to join.
Just a reminder, only appropriate names. That comes from my teaching days. And hey, actually, I have something to say. I didn't run this by y'all, so see what Anna's going to say. But I just want to say, we're in the Atlanta area. It's really good to and we're talking about social good and data for good. And I wanted to just say that in Marietta, if you're in the Marietta area, my mentor and also former boss is the principal of Marietta High School. His name is Keith Ball, and he just was named principal of the year for the entire state of Georgia. And I am so excited because KB has meant so much to me, and just he like I said, he's my mentor and one of those people who goes out of their way for kids, and they just care about the kids. That's really what leadership is about caring about other people. It's not about I want to be first. So I wanted to put that out there. All right, so let's get started. And again, the game pin will still be up there if you're still trying to do this. We're gonna go ahead and start. And here we go. I didn't turn the music up if you noticed, because it would have been too loud. All right, first question is actually a poll. We wanna know who's planning, if you are planning to participate in our Iron Viz competition. So you really can't win points on this one. We just want to
just a poll.
Yeah, it's pulse of the room here. What's going on? I can turn the music up.
Come on.
It's just loud to me. All right, so we've got a few answers here. Good to go. All right, now we're actually into the questions.
Karen,
how old is the Atlanta Tableau user group? And last month, I believe we would have celebrated.
I like green. I'm going with that one.
I love the answers.
11.
Like
11 is my favorite number if I have to make
11.
Yes.
Well, I like my mathematical integral notation there.
Good.
All right. At the top so far, it's David. True or false? 50-50 shot if you don't know. Tableau Prep Builder is now available in the browser. True or false?
Prepping in the browser. Yeah, come on.
It's true. Correct.
We should have had a what is Tableau Prep question.
This is a lot of this today's Kahoot is who's been paying attention. Which of the following Tableau functions returns a string? All right, a technical question. We had to throw in a technical question. Tricky one. Oh, majority. There we go. Date name. It's the returns a string. The other ones are misleading because you think, well, it could be a word. String.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to trick you. CTK in the lead. Iron Viz began a Tableau conference in which year?
Such a good one. I remember going to my very first Iron Viz at my very first conference, and Ryan Sleeper won, who's now one of my good friends. And it was like, this is amazing. Like I had no idea. Right.
But it was nowhere as big. It wasn't as big as it is now, right? Like it was like in a small session.
Yes, that was 2013 was my first conference that Ryan Sleeper won. And, bonus points, if you can remember, I believe it was Steve Wexler that won.
I think it's Wexler won 2011.
I think he was the very first, and then Anya won in 2020 or 2012. And then Sleeper won. Everybody who started their own company. There you go. Win Iron Viz Project Company.
All right. We're changing. On behalf of the Atlanta Community Food Bank, ATUG hopes to raise how much? Were you paying attention? Kind of questions. You can tell I was a teacher. Hey, here's an easy ticket out the door.
Nice.
Awesome. Most of you were paying attention. I think some of you are just joking. All right, let's see how we are doing. LEF. I don't know if it's LEF or if it's initials. We're going to go with initials. You're in the lead. All right, only 2 more questions. For every $1 donated, Atlanta Community Food Bank can provide enough food for up to.
It's amazing how they do this. I think they just like.
I know. Every $1.
11 meals, 11 D meals.
What if every organization could be this good with their money and
exactly
like skills?
Wow. Yes. 25 y'all. 4 meals. That's amazing. All right. So we've got one more question to determine who's the winner. Which feature was just released in Tableau 2020.4? This is a tricky one because a lot of these were very, very recent.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, looks like yeah, this is those layers in the maps. Have you used those yet, Nelson?
I have not had an occasion yet, but I am excited.
Me too. I think that's
third
pretty
place.
cool.
CTK, second place. Who's our winner? LEF. So we need information for LEF. We need an email address to give you your prize.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Boom. That's awesome.
And then they actually, what's cool, we're data people, right? Kahoot will also give me the data, the most missed questions, and which ones we need to work on. It's great for teaching. All right. I will now, let's see, who's now going to share?
It's me. I'm back. Hold on. How about now? You got it? Boom. Okay. Is this me or you? I guess I'll do it. All right. It is my pleasure to introduce Doc Elder. Doc is a professional of information systems. He has been in this space for around 31 years, teaching different courses in IS. What is that? A Master's of IS in IT, computer science, management, business administration, finance, HR, accounting, publisher of many papers, journals, has spoken at a number of different conferences, grew up in this space around the SAP world, but has since become a big part of the Atlanta Tableau user group. Doc, I believe you spoke at one of the last sessions that we did in person, talking about color blindness in kind of late 2019. if I do recall. And we're excited to have you here. Whoops. We're excited to have you here today as our kind of local, in the flesh supporter of the Viz for Good arm. So welcome.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Nelson. I dropped into the chat where you can find my massive PowerPoint deck. Nelson is correct. You guys are crazy enough to keep inviting me back. When I did that colorblind presentation, it actually wasn't recorded. And I did 200 slides in less than 50 minutes. So today I thought, well, we're going to have around 100 people because David is here. And so we'll draw in 100 people for David, and then they'll start trailing off as I go. But I thought I'm going to find something for every single person here that they can do with their superpowers, because everybody has your own superpowers. And so here we go. Here's my slide deck, finally loading up. Sorry about that. So there's a great picture from a year ago. This was only a year ago, or it's already a year ago, when we had our in-person 10-year anniversary. And so we gathered outside and we took a picture, and there's always one of those clowns in every group that messes up the picture. So there's always one of them. So today, again, my topic is data for good, ways you can use your analytics superpowers for the betterment of society. And so I want to give you guys as many ideas as possible. So I'm going to fly through a bunch of ideas, and then at the end, kind of show you how you can get involved. So you can follow me on Twitter if you like dogs and Premier League soccer and a little bit of data viz and all kinds of fun topics. I'm out on Twitter. I'm out on LinkedIn if you want to link with me. And I teach at Georgia College and State University down in Milledgeville, not to be confused with Georgia State, who is up in Atlanta. But we have lots of colleges in the area. We have lots of students who would love to work for you and with you and do things in this space of Viz for Social Good or data for good. So look, I'm even throwing up Alteryx. Why am I throwing up Alteryx? I thought this was a Tableau user group. Well, it is, but there are lots of places where you can go and get help and get ideas for how you could jump into this whole space, as Nelson was talking earlier. What better way to have a hobby than a hobby that is for social good? Why not? And we all have tremendous skills, and there are lots of nonprofits out there. There are lots of charities out there who don't have the time, don't have the money, don't have your set of skills. You guys all have tremendous skills in lots of different areas that you can use for the betterment of lots of groups out there. So here's a discussion on women in analytics, and we're going to have a discussion at the next month's Tableau meeting. What date is that? Next month, right? In March. Girls Plus Data is a really good organization. And again, all the way through here, I've tried to put the links. And again, you can go out in the chat, click on it and download this whole massive PowerPoint presentation and go and find your link. Find the one that's for you. Find the one that you're interested in and the one where you might be able to help. So here's Girls Plus Data, which is a really great organization that goes out and runs hackathons and training sessions and really tries to help us get a lot more females into this male-dominated space. Let's get more out there. But look, they need a website editor. They need a graphic designer. They need somebody who's good at social media. They need somebody to help them build curriculum. And they need people to just help run all these events. We cannot all be Jen Lisberg and be able to organize and herd all of these cats together and get these events run. Everybody has a skill. Everybody has something to offer into this space. Here's the Digital Humanitarian Network, and they do some really cool stuff. Nelson was talking about it earlier, I believe, the disaster response and trying to help out when we have these events that occur all around us. And so again, this digital response program has been around for a long time, and now they're using it. They've been using it for COVID, and now they're using it for all these power outages. And so these are teams, they're volunteers. They're helping out because they have some skills with maps, with working with data, with shaping data, scaffolding data, whatever it might be. They have lots of things that they need, lots of people helping them, and they still need more help, need more volunteers. I've linked to a bunch of articles that are out there talking about data for good and how you can get started and where there are places that you can go to and who some of these groups are. So the data for good, analytics for good, just technology for good. There's so many places that you can go with whatever skills you have, and you can be productive from day one. And so Data Kind is a really cool organization. Lots of stuff and lots of locations and lots of things that they are out there doing. So they have chapters in the United Kingdom, in India, in Washington, D.C., San Francisco, Singapore. Why not Atlanta? Why couldn't we have an Atlanta chapter of Data Kind where we can go and have community events and dive into data and have a data core where when people need some help, we've got some contacts for them. And here's how we can jumpstart and help whenever one of these events transpires. And they're happening all the time. And it gets more and more every day. And so you all have skills that could help. Trying to help people keep track of the data around their foster care. Again, we're doing a food drive, but you know what? They need a lot of help in order to get all of that food into the hands of the people that need it. And so there's lots of skills around that. So Data Kind of says, well, you know, how are you a fit? What do you want to do? What are you good at? And we will find a place for you. Because doing good with data takes a lot of folks with a lot of skills, and we all don't have those same skills. Here's one for Anna, Statistics Without Borders. I love this because people don't understand statistics, and people lie with statistics. No, is that true? Yes, they lie with statistics. So here are folks that understand statistics and can help you when you're crunching that data and you're getting statistics coming out of these statistics as a service software that we now have. What does it really mean? What can we really do with that? And so these folks have done just tons of really great projects, really massive amounts of expertise that they can wield through the American Statistical Association. So they've done projects in Africa. They've done projects for chimpanzees and for saving the children. They did a whole project on Syria and some of the terrible things that have happened there. Unicef has gone into Sierra Leone, and we know they had Ebola there. The Haitian earthquake, just so many times. So when you think about one of these projects, you know, somebody's got to discover it. Somebody's got to identify, here in this project, here's this need. What is this need, and what can we do about it? And so there's a whole series of skills that I'm sure many of you in the audience have, and it would be great for you to be able to help out because you have some skills that are in that area. Trying to scope and design things. It's really tough to try and see how long is this going to take? How many volunteers would we need? What kind of project team do we need to put together? And then again, you need somebody to execute it, somebody who has great attention to detail. I'm always telling my students, remind me of this, remind me of that, because my attention for detail as I've gotten older is not as good anymore. So help me out. Somebody remind me, Doc, you didn't do this. Doc, you didn't do that. And then it's always good at the end to have a wrap up and a debrief. And so all these organizations are at different stages. Some of them are better structured than others. But there's so many places where everybody on this Zoom call could take part. And so I just really wanted to show you lots of different articles, see that a lot of these organizations are trying to do very similar things on lots of different projects in lots of different places for lots of different reasons. that you might want to give your time, because we don't all have a ton of money to be donating. But we have this much more valuable commodity of our time and our skills and our knowledge. And there's so many good places for folks to go out and find a project that matches your skills. And so here's another one, data science for social good. Who knew? They have people post projects, they ask for volunteers, they look for organizations to partner with. And again, a similar idea, new project, scoping the project. Now it's in progress. Now it's finished. For the volunteers, how do you find these projects? All of these different organizations have their own sets of projects. We almost need a project manager sitting over all of these where we could just direct you guys there. Well, that's what I'm trying to do today. Just give you a ton of links, a ton of places out there where you can go and find something that really interests you. So here's the Solve for Good organization and some of the various things that they've done. They've looked at real-time satellite images of the forest and helping people look at what's happening with the deforestation or what's happening with these lions. Mentioned before in David's talk, the Kevin Richardson Foundation, trying to help count how many lions are out there. Well, we could do it with satellite images now and some machine learning on that and give them a much better idea of how many they are. But it takes some money, it takes some effort, it takes some time for folks to develop those things. And everybody in this room, if we could just take all 100 of you, maybe I'm only down to 90, 80 by now, I'm not sure, running you guys off. 83, I can see it across the top of my screen. There's lots of projects out there, lots of places where you could go and help out. So many great projects all over the place, helping people with housing, to helping people with health and getting doctors out there, food banks all over the place. Data Science for Good is in Portugal, David, if you're still out there. Good for that group. Again, what are we doing in Georgia? What are we doing in Atlanta? Who's interested in joining some of these, starting a chapter? It doesn't have to be Viz for Social Good, but if you're learning Tableau and you're wanting to do stuff with Tableau and data viz, then yeah, the Viz for Social Good is the best place. I say that as the chapter lead for Atlanta, although I'm 90 minutes away. If somebody in Atlanta wanted to help out, that would be great. But there's all kinds of places where you can go and see, how do we get this thing started? What are some creative ways to do that? What kind of things can we do with Google Analytics or whatever the tools might be that we can get for free from these organizations if these charities or nonprofits knew they had these programs where you can, as a nonprofit, get Salesforce, CRM, or you can get Tableau through the Tableau Foundation. Just so many great places that you can go and do things for. So Pets for Patriots, help the Humane League, Protect the Planet, Global Forest Watch, so many groups out there doing so many different projects. Katie Nuggets has lots of good data sets out there and tools to give a try. And I believe there was a Data Kind in Atlanta. They reference it somewhere, but when I click on it, the links are all gone. So Data Kind in Atlanta was there at some point, but they're not there anymore. Here's Moving Worlds. Look at some of these projects that Moving Worlds is doing out there in India, looking at corporate social responsibility, looking at CRM stuff in Malaysia, the impact of the climate in Honduras, developing a system to guide establishing a tracking system, all kinds of great things that we can do. Help with clean cooking solutions in Uganda. I believe we did one of those along those lines for Viz for Social Good, just trying to visualize what that data is to help them create infographics. Here's a fun one down at the bottom. I wish I were 20 or 30 years younger. I'd go down to Mexico and help them build some biking trails and kind of help them get some ecotourism rather than everybody going down to Cancun and sitting in those nice resorts let's get out into Mexico and help people when you are on vacation. So again, moving worlds, Katie Nuggets. Informs has pro bono analytics. These are folks that will say, hey, I have these skills, I want to help. Can people find me? Can they know that I'm out here? And so you can sign up and let people know. You can join the projects. You can volunteer to help manage it. You can help volunteer to keep track of where we're at and who's doing what. Again, more articles. Medium is great. I don't know if you guys read Medium, but I would encourage you to go out to Medium's site and read some of their articles and join Medium. The Data Viz Society has started a subsection of Medium with Nightingale. And there are some really good articles out there talking about, hey, you can learn data visualization while working with some COVID data. We've got Interworks here. Interworks is great. Interworks did a nice professor of a day session with my students, teaching them to get started with Tableau and using some of the COVID data. Brand new students, never used Tableau before. And Carl and his crew over there, Dan and the bunch over at Interworks, can't thank them enough for what they do. But how do people find them? How do we know that these folks are out there? Here's another online volunteering.org site where they have lots of projects out there. Did you ever think that you could do some translation? Only if you know a couple languages. How many of us are good or could help out with a couple of different languages and help the UN do some translations of stuff? Because we have lots of analytical tools, lots of training material in English, but we don't have them in other languages. Let's get some of this stuff translated so we can help more people. Here was a great Data Viz dashboard project that ended last year. So the UN has lots of projects out there. Here's yet another site, catchafire.org, where they have lots of projects where they need people to help with the data. They need people to help with website. Okay, how about just thank you letters? Who can help automate that process of sending out thank you letters or individual donor letters or helping with marketing or helping with the website? Everybody here has a skill and could help out. A good book and author that's out there, if you're on Twitter like I am, follow Visualizing Data. Andy Kirk is really a lot of fun. He's written some good books, but he also tweets and points out where people are just failing. Here's this marketing company sent him this letter to say, hey, we can improve your email marketing. Hi, and then blank. Couldn't figure out Andy's name. You guys can help these organizations so they don't make these kind of mistakes, that they can help more people by you using your skills. So again, lots of roles. If I haven't hit it yet, I've gone too fast and you missed it. It was on one of these slides because every single one of you has a skill, whether it's public speaking, whether it's helping with teams, whether it's literacy, whether it's statistics, listening skills. We just need so many people to help out with the youth that are out there, with parents and single parents needing help. Educational places need help. We need partnerships. And even the professors are finally coming around. I'm not the only one. They're at the Viz conference where it's all these computer science folks that are so focused on the computer. They had some sessions before last year where they're saying, hey, we can do social good inside of our research university. We don't have to just do research for profit and work with Merck to promote some new drug. We can get on the other side of that and say, how can Merck donate that drug to places that can't afford it? Or is there a generic alternative that we could do with that? So again, my favorite, of course, is going to be Viz for Social Good. I love Viz for Social Good. I think it's a really good fit for most of you all. But if you're new to it, we still need your help. And it's still a great place for you to learn Tableau, improve your data skills, so you could transition from creating data viz and infographics to all of those hundreds of other places and ideas that I was showing you. Now, when David was giving his talk, I've seen a number of the board folks give these talks, and they look at it and it's like, whoa, look at these cool infographics. Oh, I could never do that. Oh no, Sam Parsons, Neil Richards, they're way beyond my skill level. Well, just go out to Tableau Public, find me out there, Doc Elder, and look at my favorites, because I love to favorite a lot of these Viz for Social Good projects. And then I challenge people, okay, is this a pro? Is this a student? Is this a pro? Is this a student? Who can tell? What's the difference? How did those pros get so good? At some point, they were a student. At some point, they opened up Tableau for the first time and said, whoa, what can I do with this? How can I help? So if you're on Tableau Public, go find Satoshi. Satoshi is great. Satoshi does every Viz for Social Good project. Every time there's a UN contest or UN project using data and creating visualizations, Satoshi just creates some of these beautiful Vizes. And you know what? On Tableau Public, almost every time he makes it so you can download it and open it up and go, how in the world is Satoshi doing this? How is he putting these labels this way? How is he doing that? And he's gracious enough to post them out there so you can download them. So again, here's one of my students at Georgia College, down at Georgia College, State University, Milledgeville, 90 minutes away. We bring in professors for the day all the time. We work on projects for social good all the time. I'm encouraging us. We're a public liberal arts campus. We should be doing these kind of things. So here's Sarah. I believe this is Sarah's 7th or 8th visualization. She's getting there. She's getting much better at this as she goes. So you can download hers, you can look at it, you can see the heat map, you can start playing with it, trying out different things from the Show Me component up here in the top right. And you can see, well, what's my data look like? How can I present the data? Doc's not gonna like these colors. Let me see what I can do. Let me change this. And so look, I just totally ruined her visualization. But I learned, I played with it. I was able to see what she was doing and how on her 7th or 8th Viz, she was able to create a pretty cool dashboard in only a few months of playing with the tool. And so I encourage you all, there are lots of universities in the area. You all don't have to work with me. I think you all would want to work with me or my colleagues at Georgia College, but Georgia Tech has a master's in analytics program. Georgia State has some good master's programs. There's lots of places where you can go and work with these folks and work side by side with them and instill that social good in this next generation, that while you're learning these skills, why not use these skills to help folks? So a few shout outs. I love to do my shout outs for my professors for a day. So Carl Alchin at the Information Lab did a professor for a day session with me for Tableau Prep. They have lots of stuff. In fact, he had them going on earlier today, every Thursday, free trainings, free sessions where you can learn from these pros on how they do some of these cool techniques. Data Coach is another place where you can go, and they have lots of cool webinars and one-on-one coaching. And so I've had Nick Halen and Spencer Bach all as professors for the day in my classroom, doing some really cool stuff and helping my students learn. Where did my students start? I tell my students, go get Tableau Your Data. Still one of the best books. Dan, are you there? Shout out. Love the book. Even today, I love the book. Students can really start figuring out what's going on inside of there. Look at Dan. He's one of our Atlanta Tableau user group leaders for a long time. Really great community member. Interworks is a great friend and partner to so many people. And Carl was a professor for a day for me for a couple of times. Ben Jones does a lot of cool stuff in the data literacy place, and communicating data with Tableau is another one of those cool books, but Ben Jones has 4 or 5 or 6 now. He's prolific. One of my favorites is the Big Book of Dashboards. You can go and you can buy this, and you can go out to their website and you can read the chapter, see what the theory is, see their cool examples, but wait for it, it gets better. Boom, they will give you those dashboards and say, here they are. Open it up in Tableau and see how we did this cool thing. And so when you are thinking about working with somebody for social good and you see the type of data they have, you can dig into one of these really cool books or one of these webinars to show, how can I do this kind of thing? So how do you do year to date or year over year comparisons, which so many of these charities and nonprofits need to do? There's some tricks, there's some techniques for it. Big Book of Dashboards has a chapter on it with lots of cool examples. Nelson mentioned Ryan earlier. I love Ryan and the stuff that he is doing and the books that he has written. Like me, Ryan comes in and tries to do 100 slides and 100 tips. He's done it twice now. Practical Tableau and now Innovating with Tableau, or something like that, is his second book with 100 more tips to get you started. So his chapter 1, follow the community, take a training class, read up, practice, 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 build a Tableau public profile, put your stuff out there, let people see you. Hook up with people, get their help. Want to build a new chart? There's lots of places you can go and find that. And again, Ryan, chapter by chapter, 100 chapters, but each chapter is 7-8 pages. Here's how to do this chart. And the last section of his book is all on storytelling, because that's what so many charities and nonprofits need, is somebody to come in and help them tell their story, help them visualize their data is so important. That's why I love Viz for Social Good. I call the data viz the last mile. That's what we need. That's what we need to show decision makers, potential clients, customers, whatever they might be. But that first 90% of it is behind the scenes, collecting the data, entering the data, scaffolding that data, creating the model in Tableau Prep, or which is now in the browser, or Alteryx is great at helping us model that data and put it all together. And Tableau is that go-to tool to visualize it and show people, this is what's going on. This is what we need to work on. This is what our decision-making should be. So again, I'm Doc Elder. I'm down at Georgia Colleges State University. I'm the Atlanta chapter lead for Viz for Social Good, and I'm sure the board would love to have a local Atlantan on the Atlanta chapter, helping to get organizations involved, and I'm trying to get more universities involved. And so I'm piloting it with my students at Georgia College, but I'm ready to start contacting my colleagues at Georgia State and Georgia Tech and UGA and Kennesaw and West Georgia. Look at what we have, Emory. There's just so many places where you can find some students, you can find a place to learn a skill, take some classes, work with charities, join us in one way, shape, or form. And again, in the chat is the PowerPoint, so you can grab all those slides that I just flew through. If anybody has any questions, I would love to answer them for you. If anybody is still out there. Well, still got 74, so I scared 30 away. Hopefully they grab the PowerPoint and we'll find a charity or an organization or a way that you can use one of your skills to help somebody in need.
Well, Doc, I think I speak on behalf of everybody that, next time we just hope you bring a little bit more enthusiasm to the presentation and a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly.
One of my mentors, PhDs, we don't typically get taught how to teach. We just get a degree and they say, here's a class, go teach them. I've had some really fun mentors, and I get accused of doing edutainment, and I don't mind that at all, because if I'm not entertaining while I'm teaching, they're not going to remember it. They're not going to pay attention. So I try and grab people's attention and keep them going. So thank you for the compliment.
Absolutely.
That's a skill. That It's not taught, so well done.
It is.
I think, Nelson, were you going to say something?
No, I was going to, we were looking to see if you had any questions, Doc, but I think you hit all the high points. So you are without question a rock star presenter for this afternoon. I really appreciate everything you did.
Yeah.
I got really excited about Statistics Without Borders. I'd never heard of that. So I put that in the chat for everyone. I said, oh my gosh, this is a thing. I didn't know that's a thing. And y'all know I like to talk about statistics. So it looks like there's something for everybody to get plugged into.
That was my thought. And I knew if I just did 2 or 3, that wouldn't be good. So let me hit as many as I could possibly remember and put them together. And I'll probably continue to add to that. So with the same link, you'll be able to get updates as I add more and more organizations. So if you know of some, send them to me, tweet them to me, DM to me, email me, find me on LinkedIn. I would like to make this a repository that just keeps growing, because every single person has skills and there's a place that needs your skill.
Doc, you should build a dashboard that hooks to a Google sheet that's got all these things in there, and you can guide them to the dashboard.
That's not a bad idea.
I will make it a assignment for my students, and we'll choose the best one. Thanks.
There you go.
We need idea people. Every organization needs your help.
There you go.
That could be something someone does for the Iron Viz.
Ooh,
create
bringing it
a
back.
visualization for Iron Viz with this. And by the way, if all the PowerPoints and these resources, you will get a link to everything in an email in a few days.
Yes, and just a final reminder as we wrap up, if you still have 2 weeks left, even if you haven't started anything for Iron Viz yet, if you have an idea, if you have a spark of an idea, you could still get started today and make it before the March 1st deadline. There's still plenty of time. We have several really cool prizes that Tableau has donated for this competition. Really hoping that there's a lot of folks excited out there and ready to get started. And we're hoping for a ton of submissions. If you have any questions about Iron Viz over the next 2 weeks, feel free to find us on social media, on LinkedIn, wherever, but feel free to ask us anything if anything comes up at all.
And Karen, that March 1st deadline, that is to send you the link to their Tableau public submission. Is that, am I thinking about that the right way?
Yes, it just needs to be on Tableau public by March 1st. And, you know, honestly, if you can let us, there is a Slack channel for this ATUG Iron Viz competition. If you can just announce on there, and I think add your link that, hey, I'm submitting this. This is my dashboard for the Iron Viz competition. That's all you need to do. So we would see it, we would find it. And if for whatever reason you need the Slack channel, you don't have access, feel free to email me, find me on LinkedIn. We want to make sure you can submit your entry. So,
and Jen's hooking you up in the chat as well. The Slack is in there, the LinkedIn group, and just all of our user group stuff with Tableau. So awesome. Well, ladies, anything else before we close down our February session?
Stay warm.
Stay warm.
Stay warm.
Dry. It's raining. All this rain.
I know.
We'll look forward to seeing everybody back here, I guess the same day, March 18th. And we will have an awesome discussion with our Women in Data panel. So very much looking forward to that. Again, big thanks to all the financial partners with the Atlantic Community Food Bank, Analytic Vision, Interworks, and Armor Index ETFs. And Cameron, thank you so much for spending your time with us. And ladies, I think that's it.
Thank you, guys.
Excellent.
Thanks y'all for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
That was fun.
Good to see you guys.
Thank you. And thanks to Doc and David. Great stuff. We'll talk soon.